The argument for resveratrol, again, I'm just a layman here, is that that's they hype red wine and grapes.
Yeah.
Isn't it just an accelerated antioxidant, which is good for you?
Antioxidants can be very good for you, and that's actually one of the funny things about seed oils. They contain antioxidants, which helps with the supposed oxidation effects. Which,
So are you pro seed oil?
for heart health, yeah, I am. The trials do tend to say that ASCVD, atherosclerotic coronary vascular, like heart disease, is helped by switching from animal fats to plant fats. Don't want to do that myself, but it does help people. So if you're at very, very high risk, I would suggest going to seed oils instead of animal fats.
Yeah. Do you think the general population would benefit more from tallow than from some seed oil?
They would probably be hurt by tallow on average.
Tell us why.
Well, the reason is saturated fats are quite bad. They're very bad. In fact, the hypothesis that LDL causes heart disease is held up incredibly well.
Oh, so you're a cholesterol truther.
Yeah, I mean, all the data
Giving
seems
you
to
a hard
support that.
time.
It's actually interesting. So a lot of the drugs we know about today,
Statins.
Statins, PCSK9 inhibitors, ezetimibe, various different drugs that we use for handling cholesterol. We have great studies of that are based on how we found them, like the PCSK9 inhibitors specifically. They were found in these French families. They had a mutation that knocked out production of it, and they had it did the opposite. They had very, very high cholesterol. Or sorry, no, I'm thinking of the French families. They had low cholesterol. And it was discovered some large, almost 11% proportion of African Americans had a variant that dropped their cholesterol levels very low. And then a smaller proportion of whites had another variant that did a smaller effect. And all these interesting variants related to PCSK9 had meaningful effects. And so interesting thing is, we can just put the product of that gene in a drug, give it to people, their LDL goes down, their all-cause mortality improves, they become more likely to survive. And if you give it to people who have hypercholesterolemia, like naturally extremely high cholesterol, the number of deaths by age 40 is way, way lower. So you can compare families over time. You can say, oh, you, the parent generation, didn't have statins or PCSK9 inhibitors or ezetimibe or anything to lower your LDL, and a sixth of them were dying by age 40 from heart conditions. And then you look at their kids who had statins from a young age, and it's like, oh my God, they're all surviving to age 40. They're not dying from preventable heart conditions. And it's just very clear evidence like that. It's nice little natural experiments. We also have wonderful trials, and we have more genetic epidemiology stuff too. One of the wonderful ways we know statins are safe is because there are some people who basically naturally have statins, the effect of statins. The statin, it works through the HMG-CoA reductase gene, produces an enzyme that breaks down into HMG-CoA and then mevalonate, I'm probably mispronouncing. And that's how if you block that pathway, if you reduce the function there, you get lower LDL. And naturally, some people have way less function there. So they effectively have a low dose and sometimes a very high dose statin for their whole life. And we have long-term cohorts where you can go and look, oh, this guy's totally healthy. Trump, he's taking statins.
I know, I'm saying.
Yeah.
No, but I mean, you wrote about this, didn't you?
With him taking statins? Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, he should be taking statins. I feel like most old people
No, but his
should
cholesterol's amazing.
because of the statin.
Well, I'm saying, I'm affirming your hypothesis, though.
Absolutely.
I don't think it's because of his diet.
No, it probably isn't. He has a diet that I've heard is very high in saturated fat.
We only know he's taking statins because he disclosed his medical records to the world, which is awesome.
I love that.
Are there any downsides to statins?
Not really. People have proposed a lot of downsides, but the genetic epidemiology stuff gives us very long-term evidence that there's really no harms. People have proposed, oh, there will be these downsides from observational cohorts where they have mental issues. And then you look in the trials and it's like, okay, that doesn't pop up ever, so that probably isn't real. And then you look at the people who have naturally very, very low LDL, they're also fine. They have no mental issues. They don't have any lower IQs. They don't have anything wrong with them compared to people who are otherwise similar.
So with LDL, correct me if I'm wrong, isn't cholesterol in the sequence of creating testosterone?
It is. Steroid hormones are made from cholesterol. So you do need some.
But then would chronically low cholesterol brought to you by seed oils or whatever result in lower testosterone?
So that's the thing. LDL, no. You could probably get your LDL as low as you want. You'll be fine.
HDL?
HDL, you want that to be fairly high.
And so LDL, have you read the book, The Cholesterol Myth?
I haven't.
Yeah, I'm not an expert here. But there is a growing community that thinks the cholesterol fixation is over. I'm sure you've heard this.
I have heard this a bunch, yeah. There's a lot of people who believe it.
Again, I'm not an expert here. I'm just
Yeah, no worries.
I'm throwing it up against you.
Yeah. So the consilience of evidence just says, no, it's fine. For years, I had gone along with a lot of these sort of contrarian takes of like, oh, if you have a keto diet, you'll actually do a lot better. You'll be a lot better off in all these different ways. And there's all these mechanisms. But in the past few years, I've given a lot less shrift to mechanisms because mechanisms are not a substitute for the statistical evidence. I need to see in a trial saying like, give the person this drug, we do this thing, your mechanism plays out and the person has the effect you expect. But in the trials, if it always shows the opposite of what they predict, then I just think they're wrong.